Wow, wow. Hi, Jennifer. Where do you hail from?
Hi, I'm SparkPoint Contra Costa West from Richmond.
Oh, so we should have met already. Uh,
The day that we had the meeting, I went to Solano, so I was
okay.
kind of out of the office, so I apologize.
No, no, don't apologize to me. I'm just like, wow, I'm missing out, I'm sure. Hi, Alfredo.
Hi, how you doing?
Good, good. Are you with SparkPoint too?
No, I'm with Fighting Back Partnership, the Vallejo Family Resource Center.
Oh, great, great. Thanks for being
Welcome.
here. And Rose?
Of course, thank you.
Hi, good morning. I'm the office coordinator from SparkPoint and Baypoint.
Oh, great. Are we going to get to see
Welcome.
you or you're gonna stay under cloak?
Yeah, probably I'm in the front desk, so if sometimes
Too,
I need to have my camera off
too
because I'll be
distracting.
receiving. Yes.
Gotcha, gotcha. And hi, Freddie. So you're a financial coach.
Good morning, Lisa. Yes, I'm with SparkPoint, which is housed over SparkPoint Fremont, which is housed over at the it's a long intro. City of Fremont's Human Services Department, Fremont Family Resource Center Division.
Oh, wow, wow. All right. Well, thank you for being here. I'm excited. And
Likewise.
now we have Liliana.
Hi, good morning. My name is Liliana Marquez, and I'm from the United Way Bay Area, the manager for the program, Ambassador Council. Glad to be here.
Oh, great. Good to meet you. We're waiting for our other presenter. He was here, but he needed to log back on. Hence, so I get to meet everyone, which is always nice. I'm the second presenter. So. Hi, Betty. You're from SparkPoint. You spoke already. No, you did not. You went away and came back. Hi.
I was with SparkPoint. I retired and I'm now just doing some consulting work with United Way.
Oof, that's not just. They're probably very lucky to have you, I'm sure.
Oh, yes. Very lucky.
Exciting. So what do you think? Elizabeth, do you want me to kick off and go first? We'll just change our order, or do you want to check in and see how they're doing on the other end?
Let me check in with Jim and see if he's sent
Okay.
anything. No.
Okay. So, in the context of disaster preparedness, really just anything. Last night I was leaving the office. It was kind of late, and there was a huge accident on 24, I don't know, east west, like headed back toward Oakland. And it was so hard to get any information to know what was happening in the moment, I have to say. So I'm looking, I'm like, I didn't call 211, but maybe I should have. But it's just amazing how when unexpected things happen, it really can be so difficult. So I'm actually really glad that we're having this call and talking about, what to do when it's something really big. Jim, hi. He's
All right.
back.
Good to have you back.
Good. All right. So I'm going to skip the video.
Oh,
Okay.
no, we're so
Up to you.
disappointed. That's okay.
All right, everybody.
Mhm.
Let's go ahead and do some intro. I'm glad everybody got to see who's in the room. And let me just give a brief start to this. First, I want to ask, is it okay if we record this session? Does anybody have any issues with recording it?
No.
Okay. Paolo, if you could start that process, that would be great.
Yeah, the recording's actually already started.
Perfect. Thank you. Well, hello, everybody. My name is Elizabeth Maggio. I'm the Senior Director of SparkPoint with United Way Bay Area. And welcome to the second in the series of disaster preparedness workshops that we're running. It's focused on service providers because oftentimes we don't have anything that allows people to brainstorm and think about how to incorporate different types of things into the work that we do with clients. So whether you're attending this workshop to help yourself or your household be better prepared, or whether you want to explore how this might be better to help your clients or organization, you're going to really enjoy the speakers that we have here today. As you've met Lisa, Lisa is with 988 and 211 from Contra Costa. Lisa is the executive director of the Contra Costa Crisis Center, which houses both of those products and services. She leads the efforts to provide 24/7 crisis support, suicide prevention, and also be a resource referral throughout the region. She has a strong background in community advocacy and leadership, and she's dedicated to strengthening safety nets for individuals and families in times of need. If you don't know the Contra Costa Crisis Center, Contra Costa manages both 211 and 988, which offers a comprehensive, up-to-date, free of charge database of local health and social services. A call specialist is available 24/7 to talk or text to somebody in crisis and in need of help immediately. Also, individuals and families without housing can be referred to shelter, daytime drop-in care centers, and the core homeless outreach team, emergency food, job training, healthcare, mental health counseling, transportation, substance abuse treatment, and a bunch of other services. So I also want to introduce Jim. Jim Bonato is a retired vice president of operations at California Optical Corporation, where he oversaw engineering, purchasing, manufacturing, warehousing, and shipping. Alongside his corporate career, Jim served in the Army and Army Reserves for 28 years, having commanded units at the company, battalion, and brigade levels. Since retiring, Jim has been the program manager for Pleasant Hills Community Response Team, which is part of the Contra Costa network. Pleasant Hill CERT has trained over 800 residents in the principles of preparing for disasters and safety responding to disasters since 2006. Following a disaster, CERT members take care of themselves and their families first, and then reach out to assist their neighbors. And once the neighborhood situation has been assessed, CERT members then establish an incident command post to help manage, organize responses to areas in need, and respond to those areas as needed. Before you start, since you have all had a chance to introduce yourselves, I want to let you know that if questions come up during the presentation, that is the best place to address them. I don't want to wait till the end. I want to incorporate it into what we're doing. And that's totally fine with Lisa and Jim, so please do that. You can put them in the chat, or you can raise your hand and I'll let people know that you want to, that you have a question. Either way. So before we start, I want to introduce Jim again. Jim Bonato will start our presentation for today. Thank you, Jim.
All right. Thank you, Elizabeth, for the introduction. And I'm bringing the CERT presentation up here. All right. So I've been the program manager for Pleasant Hill CERT for the past 19 years. And as Elizabeth has mentioned, we've had the opportunity to training over 800 people in Pleasant Hill and its environs in how to be better prepared for a disaster, how to take care of your family, and how to help your neighbors. So we've got a motto here in Pleasant Hill that we are neighbors helping neighbors. So I'm going to proceed here. The Community Emergency Response Team was launched by FEMA to train volunteers on how best to be prepared for a disaster, what to do during a disaster, and how to respond after a disaster. Now, when we take a look at the third bullet down there, I want to talk a little bit about that. In Pleasant Hill, we have on any given shift, our police department has 6 to 7 uniformed police officers on duty at any given shift. Now, that's quite adequate for a non-disastrous situation. And if a disaster were to hit, those 6 to 7 police officers would be responding to what major things are happening in the community, where are they needed most. So where CERT fills in is CERT becomes the eyes and ears for the police department because we have residents throughout the city who have been trained to observe what's happening and to report that to the Emergency Operations Center. So I'm going to skip over this video. This is, I have to admit, this is operator error. So I'll explain things as we progress. If you were to take a look at a fault map of California, especially Southern California, you'd see that there's a spider web of faults, earthquake faults, throughout the Los Angeles region. In fact, if you take a look at how many earthquakes have taken place in Southern California to date, over 50 have taken place. So there's a lot of earthquakes down there. And because of the high incidence of earthquakes, the Los Angeles Fire Department has taken a look at studying earthquakes throughout the world. The Mexico City earthquake of 1985 made a big impression on the Los Angeles Fire Department. They saw where individual residents, due to their nature of wanting to help out, tried to rescue people from damaged buildings. Several of those residents perished in the process of their rescue attempts. So the Los Angeles Fire Department saw the need for, hey, if we educate our residents on how best to react to a disaster, they can really leverage our efforts. So they developed a CERT program called the Community Emergency Response Team. In 1993, FEMA saw what the Los Angeles Fire Department was doing. They adopted this as a national program. Now, it really didn't get its legs until after Hurricane Katrina. And in 2006, that's when CERT really began to expand throughout the nation. Contra Costa adopted the CERT program, and it is sponsored by local police departments or fire agencies. Today, CERT is operating in all 50 states and 3 territories, so it's pretty widespread. Whatever an individual learns in Pleasant Hill CERT, if they move to New York City, they will have the same training that a New York City resident has received. So our curriculum has many subjects that are taught over a 7-night course. I'm not going to talk too much about preparedness because Brian Whitlow last week gave an excellent presentation on preparedness, but I want to emphasize one point, and that is the need for a family plan. So in today's day and age, young families, both husband and wife, mom and dad are working. Kids may be in 2 or 3 different schools. So it's important to have a plan as to what to do after a disaster strikes. A lot of moms and dads are working across the East Bay Hills in the San Francisco Bay Area. And if an earthquake were to strike the Hayward Fault, several of the roadways leading into the Central Valley would be damaged. So there could be quite a long time before moms and dads could be out with the kids to get the family together. So it's important to develop a plan and to ensure that the kids are part of that plan and know what is going to take place following a disaster, where they should meet, and how long it might be until mom and dad could get there. So, proceeding down the list, let's take a look at utilities. A major earthquake can affect the utilities. Um, uh, a, let's talk about the East Bay Mud and Contra Costa Water District. That's the water is delivered to our homes through underground pipes. And when the earth moves, those pipes may shatter. Okay, so we may not have water. So it's important to have water stored on site, roughly a gallon a day per person for a 7-day period. So that's a lot of water to store. But your house may be damaged with your gas line may be damaged to the home. So it's important to know how to turn off the gas and when to turn off the gas. You never want to turn the gas back on after it's been turned off. So I'm going to take a look. We're going to take a look at a little slide here that shows on the left-hand side how to turn the gas off to the house if you smell gas. If you don't smell gas, I'd say let's hold off on turning off the gas. Electricity may be damaged. So here is an electrical box that's shown in the center of the screen. And that is where you would turn off the electricity to the house to prevent any electrical fires. The right-hand picture shows the turnoff for water entering the house. If there were a damaged water main, you certainly would want to turn off the the water going into the house to prevent any contaminated water entering your water faucets or the water heater. So let's go back to our CERT subjects.
Question, Jim. I'm sorry. I
Yeah.
have an older house and there's a water meter out, on the ground outside. Would that be the proper cutoff? Because I have a little tool that I guess you navigated to turn the water off. Does that make
Jennifer,
sense?
that's a very good question. Depending upon the age of the house,
Mhm.
okay, your only valve to turn off may be in that underground fixture that's out on the front lawn or out in the front of the house. Newer homes have a shutoff valve, have an additional shutoff valve right by generally the front door or where the water enters the house. And that water can be turned off at that point also. Does that answer your question? Great. Okay. All right. Back in 1970, the National Incident Management System was formed, and that allows cities to have a standardized framework to enable response that's uniform throughout city to city. So this helps in mutual support. And this really came uh, to the forefront during the Oakland Hills fire, when several of the fire agencies that responded to the fire found that their system was different from other cities' system. So since then, in the Bay Area, all of our responding agencies have adopted the National Incident Management System framework for organizing their response to a disaster. And CERT follows that same organization. Radio communications. Everybody's got a cell phone nowadays. Most everybody does. And they talk frequently on the phone. But you put a radio in front of a person and all of a sudden they freeze. So we teach how to operate a radio, and we have several exercises on communicating with the radio so that people become much more familiar with that and they can use that almost like a cell phone. But it takes a lot of training. It's amazing how people just cannot translate from a cell phone to a radio as quickly. In disaster medical operations, we teach basic first aid. Now, it's not just putting a Band-Aid on a cut. You know, we identify the three main killers, which are an obstructed airway, excessive bleeding, and shock, and how we treat those. We also teach students how to triage in a mass casualty situation. So imagine a school bus with kids in it that has had an accident, and you're the first on the scene. You might have kids that are screaming, but have minor cuts. But you might have individuals who have an artery that has been cut, or damage to their airway. Triage teaches us how to identify what is needed first. And in that situation where we're addressing injuries in a school bus, we're learned to go from one individual to another, not spending more than 10 to 15 seconds to assess whether their airway is obstructed, whether they have excessive bleeding, or whether they're in shock, because these are the people that need to be treated first. The people that need Band-Aids, we'll get to them. Okay. Light search and rescue. Remember the example that I talked about earlier of the earthquake in Mexico City, where several of the residents became casualties when they tried to rescue people from a damaged building. We teach how to assess a building, whether it's lightly damaged, whether it's moderately damaged, or whether it's heavily damaged. And there's a rescue strategy for each of those situations. In a heavily damaged building, we teach our CERT members not to attempt any rescue from that in that building, because there's a likelihood that they could become a victim themselves. Disaster psychology. Everybody reacts differently to stressful situations. And we learn how to assess our stress level, our own, when we're out in a rescue situation, how to assess whether our teammate is doing okay, or how to assess the stress of a victim, and how to calm the victim, how to empathize, and how to treat that victim. We also, unfortunately, this is needed. We teach people how to deal with a death situation, not only facing somebody who has perished, but also talking with a relative or a close friend that has just lost a loved one. In terrorism, we can't stop terrorism other than by reporting situations that look a little scary. But you know, terrorist acts are predominantly in public attended events where an individual can make a political statement by their terrorist activity. We teach people when they are in a public event to assess the area around them, to be cognizant of what might happen, and if they're inside, to make sure they know where all the exits are. Okay. We certainly, as I mentioned, you know, a terrorist situation can be rather large. So our response to a terrorist situation is keeping ourselves safe and reacting to those that may be injured around us following the terrorist event. At the end of the course, we've got a practical exercise that brings all these subjects into play, where students get outside of a classroom environment and actually get to practice what they've learned. Any questions about the course? All right, CERT community preparedness. Okay, it's very important that the community be aware of what disasters might befall them. In Pleasant Hill, we're concerned about earthquakes, and more recently, we're concerned about wildfires. So those are two things that we stress in our classes. It's important that the city engage as many people as possible to understand what could happen and how to be better prepared. Now, in today's day and age, we don't have city or regional newspapers, so it's hard to get the word out. So we try to do that through periodicals and through social media. In Pleasant Hill, we have a comprehensive emergency management plan that has been prepared by the police department that addresses what can happen and what the role of the police department and agencies in Pleasant Hill have in responding to that event. We also have Emergency Operations Center training. Now, what's an Emergency Operations Center? Emergency Operations Center is a central location for coordinating and managing the response to a disaster. And our Emergency Operations Center is located at the police department. Our alternate location center is at the City Hall. Now, the Emergency Operations Center is staffed by city employees. And in any employed environment, you have employees that may move on to different jobs, employees that may retire. So we constantly have training. We have 2 training sessions a year for our city staff members who staff the Emergency Operations Center. We also have a warning system here in Pleasant Hill. The warning system is called Nixle. Last week, Brad Whitlow talked about the community warning system. Community warning system is a system that the county uses to inform residents. But Nixle is unique to Pleasant Hill or unique to your city. So in the resources slide at the end of the presentation, there's information on how to contact them and become a person on their list to receive notifications. Engaging community and business leaders is important. In Pleasant Hill, we engage the leaders of faith communities and also the Chamber of Commerce. I'll talk about the faith community in a little bit.
So, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you.
Go ahead.
How would you find out about the because I work in Richmond, I live in Vallejo. How would I find out about our city's comprehensive emergency plan?
Well, that would probably be
City Hall.
The City Hall or the police department.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, now the city of Richmond has a very good CERT program, very good response program.
Okay.
I know that Vallejo is trying to launch theirs.
Okay.
So you might want to get involved with the police department and stress the importance of having a CERT program.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. After the earthquake, individual actions. This is for you and I. We want to check our family, make sure that they're doing well and that we don't have any damage to the home. If we smell gas, we turn off the gas meter. If we have some small fires, we try to extinguish those. If we have any chemical spills, that's important to clean those up. Okay. During our utility portion of instruction, we talked about the importance of making sure that ammonia and bleach are not stored together, because if they were to fall over and perhaps the cap isn't on tightly, the combination of those two liquids will create a noxious gas that is something that you want to stay away from. When it's safe, notify your out-of-state relative, because telephone lines may be down, and it might not be possible for you to contact everybody or for them to contact you. Having one person out of state who can be the central person to contact you, or for you to contact them, so that they can contact other members of your family throughout the United States who may be interested on or concerned about what your status is. Best way of finding out what's going on is, if the television is still operating, turn on the television, turning on the radio, or taking a look at the internet. KCBS is probably the best source of information here in the Bay Area. Okay, so once you've done all of those items, check on your neighbors. Okay, we may have somebody who needs some help in the neighborhood that you're able to help. Now, what does CERT do? Okay, we do all the actions that we just talked about. Okay, then we turn on our radios, because we've got a radio at home. Each of us has an assigned frequency depending upon which CERT area we reside in Pleasant Hill. We check on our neighborhood for injuries or damage, and then we move to our assembly area, where en route we record any observation of damage or injuries along the route, so that we can report those to our assembly area incident commander. The assembly area incident commander will formulate a response to the area based upon what needs to be responded to first. Our mantra in Pleasant Hill is doing the greatest good for the greatest number of people. So I'm going to proceed to the next slide and talking about how we are organized here in Pleasant Hill. So CERT has divided Pleasant Hill into 4 geographical quadrants: Northeast, Northwest, Southeast, Southwest. Each of those quadrant areas has a CERT-trained area coordinator. And that CERT-trained area coordinator is the person who is likely to organize the response to that particular region. So each CERT area and the area coordinator has an assembly area. So as I mentioned, we have 4 areas in the city. And each assembly area has a memorandum of understanding with the property owner and the city manager for CERT to use that property in the event of a disaster and for training purposes. Each of our assembly areas has a shipping container, we call them connexes, with emergency supplies and field operation manuals to be used in the event of disaster. That field operation manual teaches each of those CERT members that are responding what their role may be and how to exercise their role in the response to a disaster. So you and I, as a CERT member, we report to our assembly areas, and we report to our area coordinator, and he will identify what role we should play under the incident command management procedures, and we would exercise that role in managing the response of our other CERT members to help members of the community. So here's our resource page. Okay, I talked about the community warning system, which was a county warning system. That could be accessed by the website there. Nixle can be exercised or accessed by that website in your particular city. If you want to learn more about the Community Emergency Response Team, There's a website for FEMA. There's a lot of information on the FEMA website. You want to find out more about us and how we organize, go to our website at pleasanthillcert.org. So in the past several minutes, I hope I have given you some information on what CERT is, how we organize, how we respond, and how we train our individuals. So at this particular point, I'm open to questions that you might have. Jennifer, you got any further questions?
I just want to thank you for a wonderful presentation. I'm a person who has a physical disability, so I'm always, the more information I try to put in my mind. I have older neighbors, not too, and we all tend to know each other, but I really appreciate that this is something, a source to find out information so that we can be prepared. Because it is not if, but it will happen. So we need to be prepared.
Good. Okay. I also want to mention, Jennifer, that we have trained a couple people from Vallejo on CERT. However, there just seems to be some hesitancy by the city to start a CERT program. So the more people that knock on the city's door, maybe at a city council meeting, talking about the importance of CERT, that could get the program going in Vallejo.
Thank you, Jim.
Sure.
I did have a question. When you are trying to see if people are interested, how do you do outreach? How do people
Pleasant Hill
find out
has
about you?
the best way that Pleasant Hill CERT has found to reach people is through our bi-monthly publication that goes to all residents. In each of those publications, we will have an article about a disaster preparedness, or the CERT program, and when the next CERT program will begin. People can enroll in Pleasant Hill CERT program by going to our CERT website or by clicking the appropriate button on the city's website to register.
Thank you. And do you think that's true of most cities that have a CERT program, that it will be on the city's website?
Yes, primarily the police department's website, because the police department is responsible for emergency response.
Thank
Okay.
you. Betty,
Yeah.
you have a question?
Yes. Jim, you said it was 7 weeks of training. How many hours each of those nights? So what's the total number of hours for training?
3 to 3.5 hours, Betty. So we start our program at 6:30. We try to get people out of there no later than 9:30. And we're pretty good about getting people out of there by 9:30, because that's pretty late. So we teach our classes on a Tuesday night. So it'd be 7 successive Tuesday evenings.
Okay. It's a lot
Thank
to
you.
learn.
Yes. Jim, is it okay if I share the video link for people to watch the video on their own time?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I would say that there's a middle section that isn't too appropriate for what we wanted to present. But the beginning and the ending of the video are very important, because they represent the views of a person who experienced the Loma Prieta earthquake in San Francisco, felt so helpless and didn't know what to do. And of course, at the end of the video, she's a CERT trained individual and very, very confident in how to respond to a disaster.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you, Jim.
sure.
Lisa, I would love to welcome you to the presentation, and let us know about 211 and 988 and the Contra Costa Crisis Center.
Thank you. I definitely will. So I will just say, first of all, that once I share my screen, I will not be able to see you. Don't ask me why. So just alert me, questions. People just feel free to pop up and just interrupt me. I do sometimes tend to just not take a breath. So it's perfectly fine. So let's see. I'm sharing. I'm sharing. Yes? Ta-da!
Not yet.
How about now? No. All right. Let's, there we go. That's why.
Perfect.
Okay, I didn't see the share button, which, oh, I can actually see you, so that's even better. So let me tell you about the Contra Costa Crisis Center, and I'm really excited that I'm here and doing this. I'm excited it's being recorded. Some people, a lot of people in the county do know us. We're 62 years old as an agency. It started out as a volunteer agency, all volunteer. And at that time, what we did was we just did a lifeline. You know, it was someone in their house and then a few people and so on and so forth. So we have a really rich history and a really strong connection throughout the county. And a lot of people know us very well. Still, some people don't know us very well. And so we are a separate nonprofit organization. We are not part of the county. We are not part of Contra Costa Health. It is separate and different. Our organization, it was mentioned, we are a dual 211-988 center. There are very few throughout the country, and it has a lot of benefits for the community. We serve every single person in Contra Costa County. There's no qualifying requirements. We are here every single day, 24 hours a day. And that's for 211, which is resource and referral, as well as for 988, suicide prevention and crisis line. I think one thing that it's important for people to know about the crisis line, about 988, it's there for people that are feeling close to or engaged with suicide ideation, but it's also there if people are in crisis. Crisis can mean many, many things for different people. So if you're caring for someone that's having a really serious situation and you're worried about them, that's a crisis. If you don't know what to do, that's a crisis. If you're, trying to help a family member and it's really stressful for you and you need some help or support, that's a crisis. So the only people that are underserved are the people that don't know about us, don't call us. But once people do call us, we are highly trained. We are certified with the American Association of Suicidology. We are follow the guidelines of Inform USA, which is all of the details around the resource and referral and the actual resources and that they're up to date. We are considered the best resource and referral source in the county by the county. There's one of the county supervisors, he's funding a project to determine what are the gaps in LGBTQ services, because there's been so many different issues around that. And what did he say? He said, contact Contra Costa Crisis Center because they know. And it's not just because, and the reason why we know more is because we are constantly engaged with the community. So it's not just the big programs that we know about, right? Those are the things that everyone might know about. It's the smaller community-based programs where there might be 10 shelter beds, right? Or there might be different kinds of services or different kind of meal pantry, apart from the things that might commonly come to mind. And that's also why when people call us, whether it's for 988, suicide prevention and crisis line, or for 211, we're able to help target very specifically what their needs are and try to connect them with a larger number of resources in that way. So I mentioned now our 24-hour crisis lines, they are available. So I'll just say for 988, we have the phone call, 988. We have chat text. So for text, you text 988. For chat, there's a URL. It'll be there in another slide. I'll kind of, get through that. For 211 resource and referral and information, you call that 211, and there's also a 211 text. So you can also text, but you can't chat. That we don't have. So services, we do homeless coordinated entry in partnership with the county with Contra Costa Health. We do disaster response, and that's our mobile grief response program. I'll talk a little bit more about that. We do our Help Me Grow program, which is in partnership with First Five of Contra Costa County, and we have a smoking cessation program that's part of a California initiative. The grief support I mentioned, community outreach, and that is all our how do we know what we're doing and how do people know us and how do we get the word out. We have a bi-monthly newsletter where we are on social media, and we always get out and do tabling events pretty much wherever they are. We're at the county supervisor meetings, not every single meeting, but as many as we can be at. We accept offers if you want me to come or someone from my team to come and present at your agency or your organization. Absolutely, yes. We are a yes, we will come. Yes, we will be there. Yes, we will do it, because we know that, out the people that we want to be serving are out there, right? And if we're not out there, then they can't be in here. Metaphorically, we don't take walk-ins, just to be sure that that's a clarification then about that. So this is the chat URL that I mentioned. So it's chat.988lifeline.org. Let's see, on the resource and referral, that's you text for that text number, it's 20121. What that www.211cc is, that is to access our online database. So when people call in, we will talk with them. I'll talk a little bit more about that related to 988, but we will talk with them. We will connect them to resources. Now we do that internally, but Jennifer, you're out in Richmond and you want to try to find something, you don't feel like calling 211, you just want to find some information to share. You can go to our website and you will be able to go and search through the database, and you can do that by keyword, right? So you can find stuff. If you can't find what you're looking for, you can call 211. That's what we're here for, right? Our counselors are cross-trained, so they can do the suicide prevention line, and they do the 211 information resource and referral line. To just describe a little bit, just a slight additional detail about the 988 suicide and crisis line. What happens when someone calls that line? It's confidential, right? Someone doesn't have to give their name if they don't want. We don't share that information publicly with anyone, so it's private. What we do is de-escalation, right? We can't solve all the problems. That's not what we're here for. We're here to work with someone, listen to them, help identify what the emergency issues might be. Someone has a weapon, they're thinking about harming themselves. Is the weapon in the room with you? Is it in your hand? Would you put it down? Would you be comfortable moving it across the room? Would you put it in another room? And then work with them and talk about, what those things are. And the idea is to be able to move through enough to help them create their own safety plan. Who can you call? Who can you talk to? And so on and so forth. So that's really the purpose of what we do. And that's the same thing that we would do for anyone in crisis for any particular reason. I will also add that, you know, the person who wants or might benefit from the service can be us. It can be someone that we know. It can be someone in our office, right? It can be anyone, anywhere, at any time. So I always say that because it's so easy, I think, for us to say, oh, well, but it's not for me, it's for somebody else. But it is for you. Okay. So, and I like also saying that because then we might remember to say that to other people, right? This is information to be shared, and to everyone can need help. And that's what it is. That's what we do. That's why we're here. When you call 988, you are calling because of your phone number. You are being sent to your local area location. It's unusual for it's unusual and unlikely for you to go somewhere else. But even in that case, people are aware of what the local resources are. Our local database, we have more than 1,800 resources. You know, you're just getting a quick view of that there. The presentation will be available later, so I'm not going to go through each one. For on the resource database, it will look like this very soon. It doesn't quite look like this right now, but you can see suicide prevention, shelter, food assistance, mental health, financial services, health and dental, family support. All of these things are information that's in the database. So you'll be able to find resources there. Well, what if I'm a resource? What if I see a hand? I'll be with you right at 1 second, Betty. What if I'm a resource, or my organization is a resource, and I don't see it there? Let us know. And we'll get certain information from you, and we'll be able to add appropriate resources into there. Betty, please.
What I see on the screen is just your first slide. I don't
Oh
know
my
if you're
gosh.
progressing through it.
Returning
Seriously?
the voicemail that you left like an hour ago.
Seriously?
Right, it's just the agency overview slide with the hands.
I am so glad that you're telling me that. I absolutely, I'm clicking through these slides, and I didn't realize that that's what's happening. Huh. All right, you know what? I'm just gonna go in. I'm gonna share a different screen because that's really, really annoying. Oh, there we go. Okay. Now I see what I need to do. I'm so sorry. So we've got I'll just very quickly go through them. Agency overview, our mission, our services. These are the things that we talked about. Betty, I am so grateful. You have no idea. The variety of calls, right? We talked about some of these pieces. The 24-hour crisis line and these numbers, this is that chat URL that I had mentioned. The information resource and referral, again, about being able to text. And then this is that address to be able to go and access the 211 interactive database, to be able to search through your, to be able to search for resources that you might want. I'm so grateful that this is going to be available afterward because, oh my goodness. Okay, this is I was saying about the resource database, our 1,800 resources. I'm not going to say what all of these things are because it's just too many. And then this is the slide I was just referring to, that this is all the information in there. There's a transition happening with the site. This is what it will look like, but not what it immediately does look like. Those are the services there. Here, more specifically to suicide prevention, if there's an immediate crisis, who to call, mental health for youth and adults, school-based services, and family support. I will say most recently, I know that for all of you that live in the county, you've probably read more recently that there was a family, there were some violent crime that took place that affected some young children in schools. And we have done mobile grief response for that and worked, you know, in the schools, for example. And those are the kinds of things that we do on an ongoing basis. So let me catch up to, so here, whoops, there we go. So homelessness coordinated entry. I just wanted to, because homelessness is such a large issue for all of us in the community, that we do run a coordinated entry program through 211, and we do that in partnership with the Contra Costa Health, you know, in one of their programs. We're subcontracted with them and with the state for a large number of programs. And again, this is because of our 24/7 response and also the skill and ability of our 211 and 988 call center support, which I prefer to call a care center support, because that's really what they do. It's not, you're not, you know, we're not calling AT&T, you know, we're calling people that are tremendously caring and compassionate, that are here to listen and to help serve what the needs are. So, you know, in Contra Costa County, there is a coordinated entry model. You call 211, we work and do that assessment, right? That's what we do. And then as needed, we transfer people to core if should people need to go out into the community to help people find housing. So 211 is the first stop. It's not possible to call core directly, so it all basically funnels, these needs funnel through us. I will say that my team here, they will go through so many options to help people find housing. Sometimes there aren't, despite the best efforts, I will say, of the county, of the cities, there is never enough shelter beds. It is just, they've doubled them, we grow. It's just so, so difficult, which makes it extremely difficult for individuals, right? So we get, sometimes we can't find something, but my team will keep trying to find, and we'll try to reach back out to the individuals. We will call the different programs, and we will, I don't know, stop at nothing to really try to make that happen, because we know how dire those situations are. Moving to the Help Me Grow program, which I mentioned, that's a 211. This is for resources to parents. So parents don't know what to do. They need some help, but it's more than just calling and saying, I need a resource. It's a conversation to get a sense of what is it that they really need, and do they have other needs, not just around behavior and development, but then are there other kinds of resources that they really are needing to help support them in their role as parents, you know, in their role as, you know, leading their family. And if it becomes something else, if it's food support, if it's any other kinds of those supports, we will help them. And again, there's an additional resource database for people, and you can see that here. This is some of the details of what's in the resource directory for parents. It's mostly what I just said, so I won't go and read all of the slides, not probably the best use of our time. We also run on-site, in-person grief support. So we have groups. They're 8 weeks long, and they're facilitated by our trained staff. Also, we have highly trained volunteer facilitators who either have lived experience or who have been working our suicide crisis lines for many years. So the idea is that it's facilitated by volunteers and staff, but it's also helping to develop a community of peer support. And some of the groups really have, you know, bonded very strongly and continue to meet and support each other long after the classes end, or the sessions end. And it's for, whether it's survivors after loss or parents with loss of a child, spouse, friends, and so on. We also do the psych emergency services in Martinez for clients that are being discharged from psych emergency, that they should call us because they may not have somewhere to go, they may not have somewhere to live, they may not have social supports. So we do a 24/7. Now, sometimes the problem is they don't have a phone, right? There's different challenges and issues, right? This isn't, we're not, we can recommend improvements on existing systems. And sometimes we do. Sometimes there's too many criteria for people to be eligible, right? So part of our work is helping to inform for iterative improvement for programs and trying to figure that out, right? Because different requirements are needed by different organizations or by different funding sources, but how do we help remove as many barriers as we can to help serve the community? We again try to develop that safety plan, coping strategies, resource linkages, and again, that's what our work is, on here. We do also, we've been partnering with the San Ramon Valley Fire Department, a 911 diversion program, where when they're receiving 911 calls, that they come through our center so that we can help to determine if it's a mental health issue or determine if it's an emergency issue. This was really a pilot program. There was a lot of interest throughout the state and the country to do some of this. I think there's been some more advancement and some of the 911 connection with mental health programs. I think specifically with the county A3 program, where they go out into the community for mobile intervention, right? That's basically what they're doing. It's different from what we do. And just to underscore that we're the 988 provider. And just on that point, it is so important. And we are, as a county, as a state, as a nation, so glad that everyone is promoting 988. And it's exactly how it should be. I also do like to remind people that all of those 988 calls come through the Contra Costa Crisis Center, and that we are the folks that are most frequently diverting or directing people to other, like mobile crisis response, for example, with A3, to go into those directions there. They also have their own line, I will say, but again, 988, they have a long number. We have three numbers. Also to say that we serve, the agency overall serves 70,000 plus calls every year. Okay, so it's a lot, and it's wonderful because it means that we're doing a good job. And that's split almost evenly between 211 and 988 calls. I don't know why, but it's like, 38,000 to, whatever the balance of that would be. So also for statistics and in terms of what are the most frequent types of calls, we do post that every month on our website, and then annually we'll do like an annual count. But of course, homelessness is, I think, probably like the number one issue. The other thing, I'm kind of going to get into I see it's 11:11, so I'm going to talk I'll talk faster. We do for PG&E, public safety power shutoff. So when that stuff happens, people call us, we tell them what to do, we create safety plans with them. And that's actually all the 211 call centers throughout the state, probably throughout the country, actually do that. We partner with VOAD. And what is VOAD? I know that Jim talked about that a little bit, but I've got some definitions in the slides so you can have them. I'm like, what is it? I always forget what it stands for. How, you know, I know VOAD is so important. I'm like, what is it? So it's a coalition, and there's a national VOAD. Every state has a VOAD, and our counties have a VOAD, and the cities have a VOAD. And you heard from Jim about, you know, how they work in all of the emergency response work. So we are part of that group. And how 211 centers, we are the information and referral backbone. So the idea is that when there's an emergency, we are activated, right? We know what's happening. We are collaborating with the public information officers at the county or at the city level, so that when people call 211 and say, where do I go? What do I do? What routes are open? All of that, we're here for that. And, you know, we're involved with the planning, we're involved with, you know, again, the education, and with the plans that Jim had mentioned, the city emergency planning, that 211 is always, you know, a piece of that. So how do you respond, right? So we're the information hub, situational awareness, basically all the stuff that I just said. On recovery, when those things are happening, case management referrals, what are the resources for rebuild, for financial assistance, for mental health support, and we work there with them. We also provide the data back to VOAD, back to the cities, back to the counties, so they know what kind of requests and things are happening, and that may inform, I mean, it could inform funding resources, it you know, it could inform whatever the resources that the cities or the county may have, or direct things in slightly different ways based on the need. So we participate in the VOAD meetings. We, again, this is where our resource and referral list also becomes so critical, right? What are the resources, as well as things change on the ground, you know, some resources might be available, some might not. So we try to, you know, we work to stay on top of all of those different pieces. If something, East County is totally shut down, all right, we know not in East County, we have to send people to West County, right? Let's see. All right, the difference in the roles, I don't need to belabor that. This is just deeper detail into what we've already discussed. Again, if there's a school shooting, also, the flooding and power shutoffs I mentioned, but also oftentimes, because we're such a generous county, and we really band together and want to help each other. So people will say, well, what can I donate? Where can those donations go? So while we do not accept physical donations, we can direct them. And so that's a part of what we do. So we'll help to manage that. And actually that can be a big management portion. Once a emergency is activated, our team, we're like sequestered here basically for 10 days. We have all of these backup supplies for that. We have cuts. I just saw them. Let us see. What else do we have here? Why are you not? There we go. Some of the past things we've done. We also do free professional training. So we'll train people on how to use the resource database. We do a suicide prevention training, a short one for about an hour, how to do a risk assessment. But really, I think the best thing, and one of the biggest opportunities that we have here, is about how to be a volunteer on the crisis lines and on the 211 lines. Right now, we had actually put it on a little bit of a hiatus, but right now we have 101 people signed up, interested in becoming volunteers. And so obviously a smaller proportion of people will in the end become volunteers. It's a 2-year commitment, but it's really wonderful training. It's I want to say it's a training over 4 months. And it's quite intensive, but it's, you know, that's what it takes, right? Because it's intensive work and a lot of detail. Oh, I see Jim's cat. That is so nice. So
Yeah.
here, so here on this slide, you can see the community outreach materials. You can also request these materials. We will provide them free of charge. 100, we'll give you 100. You know, that's what we do. Every time I go somewhere, I went to my dentist's office and I gave them a whole bunch because, you know, everyone needs it, right? This is a QR code if you want to get to our website, for people that like to use such things. This is how to stay connected with us on a variety of different platforms. And that's it. So questions, I'm stopping my sharing now.
Hi, Lisa. I just had a quick well, hopefully it's quick. Say I call 211 and I need assistance with PG&E.
Yep.
Person gives me the information and I'm good to go. What if I'm a person that I need some additional help accessing? Do you do warm transfers? Do you work with that person? How does that work?
We will do warm transfers in certain situations. With PG&E, we can advise, we take information so that we can, and then we'll do with PG&E follow-ups. So with PG&E calls, we will send people to the location that they need to be. We will help them figure out what it is that they need to do. But then we will also call once, twice, 3 times to follow up if someone leaves a message and they're, you know, and so that's what we'll do. After 3 times, we let it go. If for some reason someone calls PG&E and then they can't figure it out, call back, you know, and that's what we'll do there. What we, you know, sometimes people like and basically what we'll do is inform people. So like they have the, I'm going to call it the wrong thing, the assistance with bills, right? About reducing bill reduction. So we can refer and tell the person about that, but we can't fill that out for them, right? So sometimes it's directing the person to the right place, but there's limitations on what we're able to do in that circumstance. Also, I'll just add is that all of our calls, you know, we keep HIPAA protections and everything is private and not shared, but we do record our calls. So we have our staff, like there's records. Any call that comes in, there's a written record and notes of what happened in that call. So, you know, we make sure that everything is, you know, pulled together, you know, so that we can go back and reference. So if you called back again, for example, I would know that Jennifer called. I'd be like, oh, Jennifer called. So this is her second call. What did we talk about last time? So every time you call, you're not starting at the same place. You might get a different person who needs to review the notes, but it's there. And then, you know, the ability to move ahead more smoothly.
Thank you.
Of course.
I always forget to unmute. Thank you so much, Lisa. I wanted to see if anybody else had any questions for Lisa.
I will
want
say,
to give us a chance. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, you know, just to say that it's, I think everyone here at the center really feels that it's a tremendous privilege to be able to serve the community in this way. Many of our call center staff have been here for many years, I would say more than 5 years. And it's just a lovely place and a lovely group of people. And it's all different kinds of people with different backgrounds. It's a very rich group. There's artists and musicians, and you know, there's no one type of person that has an interest in doing this work, whether it's on staff or volunteering.
I want to do a quick exercise for the last 5 minutes or so people can talk to each other. We've gotten so much information, and I always think it's helpful to be able to then apply it to the work that you're doing. So we're going to have a quick breakout room session for only 5 minutes. And Lisa will be in one room, Jim will be in another room, and I will be in a third room. And it would be great if you could join whichever room you want and have a chance to ask more questions, but also have a chance to answer this question, which is, based on what you've heard so far today, what do you think would be most helpful to share with your household, your organization, or with your clients? So, Paolo, if you could help me out with the breakouts, that would be great.
And Elizabeth, because like we're hosts on the Zoom call, I would invite you to actually check out the breakout rooms option on your subbar and then choose the one that says Elizabeth. And I'm here.
Can you bring Jim back in?
There he is.
Welcome back, everybody. I hope you had a chance to share some things with each other.
Yes.
I want to let you know about what happens next. We're going to have an email that will follow this presentation, and you'll have a link to, oh, let me get it up on my screen. There is a big giveaway that you can contribute to or be registered for. This is part of the whole disaster preparedness program that we're doing with Verizon. There is an ultimate disaster preparedness kit giveaway. So this huge kit of emergency products is available to you if you check on a link. And then you'll also get the United Way Bay Area Disaster Preparedness Guide. So you'll automatically be put into a raffle, I guess, and you'll get a copy of the Disaster Preparedness Guide that's coming from United Way Bay Area. There's also some additional workshops in the series and other Bay Area events. The disaster preparedness workshops that are coming up, the next one is on financial preparedness. So if you want to know how to set up your banking or your insurance to better protect yourself for an upcoming disaster, or how to deal with those organizations after there's been a disaster, this will be a really powerful workshop as well. And this can be for yourself or with your clients. And then the last presentation in our series is a Red Cross presentation, as well as more local recovery partners. I think one of the things that we're learning in all of these sessions is how important the partners are and organizations are, and just knowing what people do, you know, where they're most supported. Am I sharing the right screen?
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right. Well, welcome. Thank you, everybody, for joining and for participating in this workshop. I hope to see you in a future workshop as well.
Thanks, everyone.
See you all next
Thank
time.
you.
Have a nice day.
Bye.
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 Thank you, Paolo. I think the breakout rooms, oh, cut the recording, please.
Oh, let me, Ellen.
Okay. I think the